Sad and cute indeed. Oh, they said. Then they picked him up by the scruff of his neck and threw him out! Because you don't let dogs into graveyards. They dig up the bones. However, Bobby was not easily put off, and the next day the parishioners came in for their service and he was back on his dead master's grave looking even sadder and even cuter. Oh, they said. Then they picked him up again, and this time they drop kicked him out. But the next day Bobby was back, so they chased after him throwing rocks at him. But the next day he was back, so they chained a vicious guard dog to the gates of the graveyard to chase him away. No good. Bobby caught a rat, brought it to the dog, made friends with it and walked past to get to his dead master's grave. So they started to lock the gates. Bobby tunnelled under the gates to get to the grave. So they lowered the gates. Bobby climbed over them. So they raised the gates. Bobby squeezed between them. So they thinned the gates and he dug under them again. So they lowered them again. He climbed over them again. They raised them again. He squeezed between them again. 3 times they lowered the gates. 3 times they raised the gates. And then Bobby started to find wee holes in the wall all around the graveyard he could sneak in. They spent a fortune sealing up all of the holes in the graveyard, and Bobby built a wee catapult-like device that threw him into nearby trees, which he could scurry down the trunks of and get back in his dead master's grave. So famous was he that the soldiers up at Edinburgh Castle decided Bobby would be a perfect mascot for them. They decided to kidnap him. So the soldiers crept up on Bobby while he slept with a big brown sack, threw him inside and carried him up to the castle to keep him there as their mascot. No good. Bobby tied his wee bed sheets together, threw them into the battlements, abseiled down the side of Castle Rock, and pole vaulted back into the graveyard to get to his dead master's grave. And every day, without fail, for 14 years, Bobby would be found sitting on his dead master's grave looking increasingly sad and cute. It's a lovely story. God bless Walt Disney. 1 or 2 slight wee problems though, the most important one being John Grey, the shepherd, Bobby's master, isn't buried here! He's buried 2 miles in that direction in East Prestonfield Street Cemetery. There is a John Grey buried here, but it's not the same John Grey. It was a local police constable who also had a dog called Bobby, but it was a different dog. The shepherd's dog sat on the police constable's grave. So the daft wee dog must have come in, read the name, never checked the date. He sat on the wrong grave for 14 years. Cute? Yes. Loyal? Yes. Daft? Yes. Or is he? Because right next to that wrong John Grey's grave once stood both a very fine butcher's shop and a very fine pie shop, both of which used to throw their scraps out over the wall just exactly where Bobby spent 14 years sitting. Not to mention this graveyard has long been a favoured gathering spot for stray cats, which Bobby loved to chase, and of course nobody ever tells you that Greyfriar's Bobby was responsible for digging up no fewer than 3 human skulls while here. The fact of the matter is Greyfriar's Bobby was a fat, greedy, beady-eyed, grave-desecrating pie dog! And this graveyard should not be famous for him. He's got a statue. Outside this kirkyard, the most photographed statue, not in Edinburgh, in Scotland!